Hello! In this tutorial I'll teach you how to extend the layout UI editor widgets. So basically every time that you edit like a page or a template or some block, you'll see a very similar editor with widgets. So in this tutorial I will teach you how to extend that widgets according with your business needs. So let's log in our framework choosing the advanced workspace and select the project. So the editor that I'm talking about, it's the page editor or the template editor or the block editor. So something, every time that you see an editor with these widgets here, this is what I'm talking about. This will be the focus of our tutorial, how to extend these widgets that appear here. So first of all, let's show the advanced items and go to the library tab. So I need to explain you first where can you extend that widgets, where is the folder that you should upload that widgets. So it's here, external library, layout UI editor and widgets folder. So everything that you upload in here to this folder, to the widgets folder, automatically it will be converted to a widget and it will appear in here. So what is a widget? Currently in our demo we have these two widgets. Widgets is basically simply a XML file which a specific syntax. In the XML file you set the label, which is the name that appears in the menus, the tag. A tag is like an ID and a unique ID of that specific widget, so it cannot be repeated. And then you have a bunch of settings where it says that if the widget is resizable or not, the template node name, which is when you drop that widget into the canvas area, it will create a HTML element. That HTML element, what is the tag name for that node, for that HTML node. So currently in this widget it is EMG. And then you can set the create widget class. This class basically allows you to set a bunch of callbacks that basically set the behavior of the widget when you drop it, when you right click to see the properties, when you delete, when you do some interaction in that widget. So we have a bunch of callbacks that you can set inside of this class. This class, it is defined below here in the menu.js. As you can see, it's this class here. Currently we just have one callback, which is when you create a template widget. What happened? Basically what it does is it gets that specific node, which is an image node, and it will set the source to this variable here, which is this variable here, which is the web root URL, this widget emg/logo.svg, which is basically this logo here. So by default when I drop it, it will set this logo here. Then you have menu widgets, HTML that you can put here inside of the menu widgets. By default we don't have any. You can have other extra HTML that you can put inside of the template widget. So since this is an EMG node, it doesn't get any children's, but let's see that this, if it will be a div, you could set some default HTML that you wanted to put. Then you had the properties. Basically this is like HTML. When you click the properties of that images, what are the fields that you want to appear. So the HTML of the properties, you can put it here. Then you have some CSS correspondent to the menu icon, where you say in here what is the icon that it shows in the menu. Then you have some CSS for the templates too. So when you drop that widget through the canvas, in this case it will create the image, and what are the CSS, how will that image it will appear. It will appear example with some color or with some background. So you can define all of that by default. Then the user can change it, but you can define that by default. And then, as I told you, the menu.js, that's where you define your class that you define above here in this setting. So basically the widget is just a simple XML file. What you can do is you can just get some widgets and just try to change one to see what happened, or you can just get a widget that is already defined based in our editor, it could be in the page editor, and just get that widgets, copy to here and change it. What I'm talking is that when you go to the page editor, where are all these widgets defined? So if you go to the common projects, so let's open here, all projects. If you go to the common project, web roots, vendor, and then you search a folder called jQuery UI, jQuery layout UI editor, and then you open the widget folder. All that widgets are in here, and we can just copy one. Let's just copy example. We can copy the image one, this one. Let's just copy this and let's paste it in the correspondence widget folder. We can just put inside of this group, so we can just paste it, and it pastes here. Now we can change this to something else. Let's put here image 2, and we can change the XML file. In here will be image 2, will be a tag, it could be this one. This will be the JavaScript function we need to change so it doesn't enter in conflict with the other one that already exists. Then if we change the tag name, by default we need to change all the CSS because it's based, the system creates all these classes based in the tag name. So we need to change this to 2, number 2. So as I was telling you about, this widget has some properties, has some source field and some alt field. So these will be the properties. When you click to see the properties of the widget, these are the properties that it will appear, and I'll show you this working. Then in here I can see that in here I have other callbacks. So in this function I can set a bunch of callbacks that will define the behavior of my widgets. When I drop it, when I create it, when I click it, when I see the properties, when I save that properties. So there is a bunch of callbacks. Everything is explained in our documentation, so it's better if you go there and if you see, because all this that I'm explaining you is explained in detail there with examples too. But basically in this case I'm defining a bunch of callbacks and passing the correspondent functions, and these functions are defined in here in this class, JavaScript class. So, and I believe we are set to go. Now as a matter of fact is missing something here. So in here we need to change this, the default image, because the default image is not correct. That's what we want is we can put something like this. We can copy this to do the same thing here to change the logo. So we need now to copy these two files inside of here and we need to create a new subgroup, and we can just cut these two images and paste it here. And I believe we are all set to go. So we can go back to our page editor, and before we click we need to remove the cache. Every time that you add a new widgets, the system creates cache, so we need to remove it if you want to appear the new widget that we created. And if we scroll down, we'll see here that the user generated, we see here that we have here the new widget, which is the image, but it's not showing the logo. So something that we did, it's wrong. So let's go back to our setting.html file. Okay, so basically what we have here wrong is that we don't need this image to slash here because the widget web root URL is already contains this image too, because the settings is inside of this folder, so it automatically recognizes the widget web root URL with this folder. So we can just erase this one here and here, and we have a misspell error here too. We don't need this double quote here, it was copied by mistake from here. and we just save it, and we delete the cache, and we go back again to the page editor. And if we scroll down, we'll see here the widgets. If we drag and drop this widget here, it will show the default image here. If we click it, we will see here the sources properties that the system currently has. If we go to the library and if we change like this to something else, this is just an example just to show you, automatically it will be reflected in that properties. So here it is. So basically this is just an example how can you extend widgets, HTML widgets in your layout editor. So you do that through external library, layout UI editor and the widget folder, and then just drag and drop it here. These widgets that we currently have here and this one that we created are inside of the user generated folder, so by default he'll check if there is a group in here that with this name. If it doesn't exist, it will create a new one, as it did, it creates a new one. If it already exists, he'll append the specific widget into one of that groups, so we can just create a new group here and we can put it others. This is just an example, and in here we just cut this guy here and we paste it, and we need to get the web root 2. In this case, well, I can just copy this just to be faster. So in this case I don't need this one, and in this case I don't need this one. Well, and I could do this, or if I want to, I could do something else, which will be the web root. It could be inside of the image2 folder, so this works too, so the system detects this automatically. So let's just clean the cache, let's refresh the page editor. So if we scroll down, we don't have the widget here anymore, and we have the image2 in the others, as you can see. Well, as a matter of fact, I put others here, but it's not the correct group because the others are inside of advanced. So in this case, I needed to choose like, let's choose like instead, let's put here the form instead. Clean the cache and refresh it. And I can see inside of the form group, here it is my image that I created. So basically this is just examples how to extend your widgets in the layout editors according with your needs. And that's it, so thank you very much.